That is extremely rare. Screen share, please. It's a little better. Ooh, that lag is brutal. Let me close these tabs out that I don't need. Yo, what's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm just trying to get the live stream shared on my Instagram real quick. Suppose I can put my position on here. Yeah. Take a picture of you guys real quick. Sorry, I never know how to get these things started in the most efficient way, so I end up taking the first 5 minutes to get situated. But we'll chill in here for a while. It'll be recorded as well. All right. We got one person kicking it in here. Does anybody want to identify themselves in the chat? For whatever reason, TradingView just hates me sometimes. Hates me. I'm going to put my long position in here that I currently have open. But we can talk about whatever. It doesn't have to be trading. Little 3-to-1 risk to reward on there. What's up, everybody? What up? I don't know how Instagram Live works. If it goes out, like other people can join. Sometimes I would do TikTok Live. That was pretty fun because random people could join. If anybody, I'm assuming you guys are from the Discord. If you guys join that quickly, but just to see in action, these are kind of what some of the indicators look like. It depends how the day is going, like which ones I'm taking or what trades I'm taking. if I'm taking trades, what direction I'm taking trades. But these have actually been working out pretty damn well, I will say. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff in here. You guys can see, let's see. So this is one of the strats, right? Just like a simple break of structure, back test, and yeah, using fib retracements, fib extensions, right? Kind of retracement level to get your long position. The direction is super important on this, on if you're actually going to take trades and if it's going to work out. I haven't really taken too many of these, though they do seem to, in trending markets, work pretty well on the higher time frame. We're on the 5-minute time frame right here, so this is just like scalping and stuff like that. But they seem to be working out pretty well. This, I'm sure you guys know what orb is, open range break, but that's what this is. This actually kind of cooks, I'm not gonna lie. This is the one I took today. I ended up closing it a little bit early, as I mentioned in the live stream. Yesterday I did not take this one. Let me see if I can see why on here. Go to my bias. Yeah, so I ended up not taking this one because it kind of flipped into this bearish regime. Plus, I didn't want to take it because when I was looking at it in here, we kind of had this kernel regression. Band still flipped red. So I ended up not taking that yesterday. I took something else in the afternoon, though. I did take this trade on this break of structure right here, which I thought for sure it was cooked, but this actually happens quite often with these trades, which is a little weird. But you can't go high leverage on this because this is like a 1% stop loss, so it doesn't really work out. I think I only went like maybe 10x leverage, something like that. But still, even on 10x leverage, 6%, 7%, it's not bad. The risk to reward, you just have to make sure you're trading, again, the right side of it, right? The right side of the trend. Which if that's all you have to determine, and you can kind of give up your entry to just let the indicator do what it's going to do when it comes to entry, it's actually not as hard as you think. Yeah, there's kind of the 3 indicators that I've mainly been trading recently just for these scalps. It looks crazy when it's all added on here. But yeah, I just kind of toggle things on and off. That's what these are the indicators I've been using that you've seen in the morning of, like, closed 30-40% trade in 10 minutes, whatever. This indicator, or this trade that we have on right now, is actually from the indicator that we just launched. So that's going to be the one shot, one kill. There's 2 variations of it. One I paid somebody to make. The other one I made it, or one of my partners made it. He's my partner on this indicator, which I'm sure you guys will get to know him over time. If you have questions on that stuff, or throughout the beta testing, if you do sign up for that, I would definitely recommend signing up for that. Here's kind of a visual of what it looks like. I would definitely recommend signing up for that. It's free. You guys can test it out, mess around with it, integrate it kind of into your own strategies and things like that. But yeah, I just have way too many indicators going on right now. Honestly, I kind of got obsessed with building them for a hot minute there. There's another one here, these buy signals, kind of cooking recently. So let's see if this buy signal has any weight to it. I don't want to remove this, but I can scoot it over so you can see this a little bit more clean. So this would be basically setting up for a short because we swept. If we would go to the 4-hour candle, right, we swept this high, closed underneath it. So that would be an SFP. Do we add it to our trading view? Yes. Sorry, let me go answer this question in Discord real quick. Cool. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe. You just wait for it to confirm. This isn't confirmed. It probably won't confirm, honestly, if we are going to be bullish here. But that's kind of the beauty of it. You just let it do its thing and wait for it to confirm or not confirm. Make sure you're taking the trade with some more confluence or within the trend, and it's pretty straightforward outside of that. I guess we'll kind of hop down here. We're gonna hop down to the 1 minute time frame of all things, just so we can actually get some trades in. And I think since I already have my Bitcoin trade open, we probably need to go trade Ethereum. It's gonna be easiest. How's everybody doing tonight, though? No chats? You guys are quiet. All right, so if we come on here and we lose a bunch of trades, nobody can be mad at me. We're on the 1 minute time frame, but I'm actually trying to get some trades out for you guys while we're on here. Not that they're few and far between or anything like that, but you can sit here for a good 2 or 3 hours waiting for like a 5-minute setup to form. But until then, if anybody has questions, we can talk about whatever. If you guys want to talk about high time frame stuff, macro stuff, I apologize. For the first time in a whole entire year, I did not film any short form videos this week. I have been so burnt out on everything. Life, crypto. It's crazy. So I didn't get to short form videos this week, but I'll probably try to make some this weekend, just film on the phone, something like that. I feel like this light is kind of, is that better? This may be a little better. I need to start going live more though. That's like definitely on my to-do list for the coming year, month, or really the year. Definitely go live more. I feel like filming the short form videos, filming the videos is hard to get your personality into it. I'm a cool dude. I'm good to hang. But it's pretty much all business when it comes to the videos and the short form videos and stuff like that. You guys see what I'm saying? Why we have to be on the 1 minute here. It's never a guarantee that you're gonna get setups. I guess we can talk about what kind of setup I would want to see right here. I think I would prefer to see a long setup. I have my high time frame bias in the background, this little shaded area. That's a 4-hour time frame. So basically saying that the 4-hour chart is bullish currently. And then this little kernel regression is an hourly. So we have flipped this into, the bullish side of things. So we got two things pointing to up currently. And again, we're on the 1 minute time frame. So if we can catch a 0.25% move to the upside, 0.5% move, it's about all you could ask for. For the sake of entertainment, I'd probably take a trade in either direction right now. But I'm a lot more selective in the morning when it comes to things. Looks like there already is a short on right here. I know it doesn't look like these things are good because of the risk to reward. But as long as you're taking it smart, they actually work out more often than not, which is kind of nice. When they don't work out, you're kind of pissed off because it is the risk. Like I said, the risk to reward is pretty skewed. But They are pretty nice. Seems this break of structure has kind of been cooking on here recently. Boom. Stopped there. Good short there. Good long there. That's about all you can ask for. You guys can use these indicators also on any asset too. I like to trade crypto, but I'll trade metals. I'll trade, NASDAQ futures, stuff like that. So it really does. All of my indicators work on any asset, which is kind of nice, or which is really nice actually. No questions, anybody? And this is kind of last minute. I should have planned better. Should have planned better. All right, let's go back down to the 1 minute, see if we got anything. Oh, turn this back on. I'm curious to know if my computer like shows up lagging to you guys, because it's like 2 frames behind for me. Like probably like 20. Whatever it's supposed to be, it's like half of the frames it's supposed to be. I'm gonna check Discord real quick, make sure nobody had any questions. Sorry, I got some questions in here. Oops. There goes the red light. There goes the red light. Just put 10K in the chart to the right. Chart to the right. These are my charts to the right, sir. You put 10K into the Japanese yen. I'm so curious to see how this plays out. This is honestly like one of the crazier times I've ever seen in crypto, which sucks for people that are new to this. Like, I have some people that kind of bought in December, which was obviously like sentiment peak for sure so far. And having to explain to them that this is like not normal behavior. It's not unnavigatable, but it's definitely not normal for whatever reason. I think it'll be clear in hindsight, but I've been adding more money as well. I've been putting in more money, and we're going to see how it plays out. Betting on the chart going to the right, the exchanges will find. Yeah, no lie, dude. No lie. 100x leverage that if there's a way to bet on an exchange that like Bitcoin is not going to go to zero, and you get paid like 0.000000001%, exchanges would find a way to liquidate you. I remember there was one time, I'm not going to pull it up here, but I was trading XRP, which is a terrible idea. I don't know why I was obsessed with trying to trade XRP for a while, because the price action is just so dog shit. But it literally, like, the market took off, right? So Bitcoin was up like 5, 6, 7%. Ethereum up whatever it was, and I see XRP like go up 2% and just go boom, just nuke like minus 7% and go right back up. And it grabbed like just all the liquidity randomly for like it was the bottom for like 4 months. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, that doesn't even seem possible." I know obviously if there's liquidity, it's gonna get hunted, but like it makes no sense. Honestly, so my thoughts on the cycle extending, it's I hate being classic every single cycle. I like am so nervous, honestly, to be on the trade, but I have found myself here, and I think I've found myself for good reason. Oh man, just trying to say that I'm reconnecting. Come on now. Sorry if I broke up for there for a second. Um, yeah, so I don't really particularly enjoy being on this side of the trade because a lot of like it's like the toxic way to think about this market. A lot of times after the market's already topped, people are still calling for the cycle to continue. It's just a fact of the matter. Um, but I've been covering stuff since we lost 98K that like this doesn't add up to being the top. Not even from a euphoria stance. Um, yeah, I do need to get monetized. I don't get enough views, bro. It's crazy. Um, Not even from a euphoria stance, but from a technical stance, I'm just found myself there. Um, I don't think about it. I'm not like on the Raoul Paul side of it, like the debt maturity and stuff, or really, I'm not even on the cycle extending because it has to extend. I'm just on the side of everything that I see in the market points to it going higher, so that implies it extending. Um, and then given the fact that we haven't seen Bollinger Bands expand, all those things, um, is going to point to some sort of extension. But the main key for me was Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum price in Bitcoin and others BTC. I'm sure you guys have gotten tired of hearing about that. And that was the main point of contingency for a while. And then, as we kind of had more time at the bottom, sentiment started not really lining up. Just the amount of people calling for lower, the amount of people posting, the January 2022 fractal, which was a big reason why I thought we would hold the low, which we ended up not holding the low. But it just kind of is what it is when the macro environment looks the way that it does, right? When you look at things like the credit cycle, when you look at things like the position the Fed is in now versus the position they were in last bear market, right? It's just a little odd, and then the sentiment has gotten way worse, which is really good for us. Um, and the sentiment is less. There is fear, but the sentiment is also a lot of complacency on the bear side, which is super super good. That was one of my points when we were in that kind of fractal resembling a January of 2022. Is like in that instance, the bulls were extremely complacent. In this instant, it seems the Bears have gotten complacent. Um, if you saw my video this week or today, I mean, it's really interesting that we've kind of speed run to these capitulation levels. Things are still slightly mixed. Um, mixed in the sense of like not every capitulation trigger has really been hit. Um, But when you look at things like RSI on the 3-day, daily, weekly, across a number of coins, everything points to kind of being around, those the same levels of capitulation as previous capitulation candles. But for it to show up with no news and happen extremely quickly is just another weird thing to me. Um, and I have to I'm taking a big risk. I'm taking a big gamble. I've told people who are more risk averse, like, even though I'm bullish and bullish on altcoins specifically, um, it is smart to allocate to Bitcoin and Ethereum. But me personally, I've been allocating into altcoins, which feels crazy. It's a big bet, um, but I've seen enough and sentiment is opposite of where I'm positioning. So it kind of all adds up, it all aligns, and I'm just okay with the outcome. Debt rollover sheds light why retail failed to show up. Yeah, I can see that. I was big against, like, if you go back to my videos really all through the summertime, um, I was like cautious of people saying the 4-year cycle would extend, due to, institutions are here, bro, and all this stuff. Like, that was kind of the consensus that it was going to extend beforehand, and I was pretty against that because, like I said, a lot of people say that every single cycle. So I never believed in the 4-year cycle. I never thought it was valid. Honestly, I can disprove it, more ways than I would, even care to count. But I still used it as a guideline, right? So if Bitcoin was at 150K, if Total 2 had broken out, if Bitcoin dominance was at macro lows and it happened to be October or around October, well, then yeah, I would have called the top, and it just so happened to, also align with where the 4-year cycle was at. But since we didn't get any of those things, and all of those dynamics are still in play, though they're extending, to your point, I'm just remaining bullish on that. And it is a little bit of a selfish stance too, because everybody's situation is different. Like, I'll be fine if we had a bear market right now. I would take a big hit on like fresh altcoin buys, but outside of that, I own Bitcoin from like 22K, 23K, Ethereum from like $1,200, Solana, my average is like 22 or 23. XRP average is like 37 cents. So, like, I don't think prices are going to go that low, um, really ever again, right? So I'll kind of be okay, but I do feel bad because, I know everybody's situation is massively different, right? Um, so that's kind of been on my mind recently. Yeah, I'm in that camp, man. Like, just on the side of things of, um, you know, I think people's biggest problem in the next 6 to 8 months is going to be selling too early. Like, that's how bullish I am, on all those things, or on the market, even though price is where it's at. I don't. All my posts are bullish, but I try to just remain, pretty muted in my tone, and like not show too much excitement and things like that, and try to just keep it on the data. But I am excited for what's to come. I think if Bitcoin can find some legs here, all the liquidity is to the upside, and I really want to see how people react, when we move up. If they remain bearish, what altcoins do into a move like that kind of thing. You said you're in all alts. You have no position built up yet to start trying to retire in Bitcoin gains. Yeah, I mean, one thing about Bitcoin gains, right? So people overlook this, and I won't get too much into it. It's actually what my like macro strategy is built on. Um, but it's not all about Bitcoin gains in the sense of making massive amounts of money in Bitcoin, but the security that you get, one, and then two, the fact that it pumps a lot earlier than your altcoins, right? Even in a more typical cycle. Um, Last cycle I rotated out of my Bitcoin, it was at like $45,000, and I was buying altcoins at 4-year lows when that happened, right? So Bitcoin went on to run, $20,000, $25,000 more, but altcoins did 5, 10, 15x from there, right? So I got to actually rotate those gains. So that's a big thing because altcoins is a lot of timing unless you're buying, the stronger altcoins, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, BNB, probably Hype next cycle, Tron, stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a risky game when it comes to timing of the thing, which I even myself have fallen victim to over the last couple months, where I've been positioning for some sort of move into the altcoin market. Luckily, you don't ape in everything all at once. You scale in. So I have been able to take advantage of the dips and stuff. Do I believe in things like Ethereum's third cycle curse? Not particularly, no. I think if Bitcoin dominance drops and Bitcoin pumps like I think it can, with the Bollinger Bands being so tight, with this kind of quote unquote bear market looking so drastically different, with ETH BTC being where it's at, momentum building on the monthly time frame, I don't think it'll have any issues getting to 10, 12, $15,000. Chainlink and Cardano, yeah, dude, the sentiment the sentiment is bad over there. I've actually been buying a little bit of Cardano. Haven't bought much Chainlink. Cardano just has a little bit more upside from where it's at, in my opinion. But I mean, the sentiment around every altcoin is bad. And when sentiment is bad, you just get story after story. Not that I'm saying they're made up or anything, but what am I trying to say? Things just, bad news explains bad prices, right? So there's just going to be negative coverage around it when price is down, and then when price goes up, I'm sure people will find a way to spin how Cardano is, innovating the next 10 years of blockchain innovation, and Chainlink is this or that, right? So it kind of just comes with the territory of where price is at when it comes to the story around it. But they have been beat up. Cardano especially has been beat up a little bit harder than other coins for sure. I mean, Ethereum too, though. Like Ethereum from 5,000 to what's it even at now? 1,900. The low at like 1,600 or 1,800, 1,900, something like that. Where'd the low come in? So I mean, Ethereum's been tossed around the last couple of years. Low at 1,700. Sheesh. Tom Lee is a savage, dude. Homie's still buying. This indicator's pretty solid though on the higher time frames. Sometimes you get these little wicks, but if you can catch a trend with it, it's pretty good. I don't like it on the higher time frames in chop though. Don't want to take this short. Wish I could. Don't want to. Oh, 3-minute chart. Damn, 3 minutes kind of cooking, though. Yeah, dude, Ethereum's chart actually looks really good in my opinion. If you throw it on any time frame, really. You throw Ethereum on, is the monthly good enough? me take all these indicators out for you real quick, sir. Let's do this. But I mean, this doesn't look bad at all. This looks very ascending triangle-ish to me. It's crazy though. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of red. We didn't have that in here. We didn't have that in here. Even last bear market, we did not have 6 months in a row of red. Like, that's fucking absurd. But that's kind of a testament to the sentiment and things like that. But if we take this, right, A, B, C, D, E, right, to me, this don't look too bad. Take this off. All right, I mean, like, structurally, it's really not bad. What are you doing? Sorry, it's lagging so much. You know, when it comes to squeezing in here and things like that, it's not bad. Yeah, I don't know how Powell has kept the rates so high. It's been absolutely absurd. In my opinion, they should have cut last time around. The market's now pricing in not getting a cut in March, which is pretty detrimental. I'm not even saying it because I'm like, the Fed needs to cut for us to pump or this or that. I mean, there's a variety of reasons why we could pump with or without the Fed. But strictly how bad the employment data is, it's like, bro, like, you navigated one of the toughest times in the market ever with COVID. You know, having to deal with high inflation and high unemployment just to get everything under control on the inflation side to the point where it's basically next to zero, and then go and keep rates high and artificially create a bear market or a recession because of the labor market. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm really not. I really don't have a clue as to why they would keep the rates where they're at. Those definitely need to be cut, in my opinion. And like I said, not even because I want asset prices to pump or something like that, but strictly just from the risk on the labor side, like I've been mentioning in videos. Like, that's not a recession you want to have. Labor market kind of recession. Whew. That shit is scary. I gotta figure out something to do with the content. I gotta get more creative or something. More views. I get so obsessed with making these like technical videos, but they honestly don't do the best. I could also figure out a good time to do live stream besides the 9 o'clock at night. No setup still yet. Trading is a patient game. That's what's nice about having indicators, though, that handle your entry for you. All you have to do is determine a bias, right? If I see a break of structure or something like that on the long side right now, I'm definitely going to take it. So having your bias, you just kind of have to wait. I don't even have to check price chart. I can set alerts on these indicators and just get a message on my phone that, hey, this is approaching or this is happening, and then just hop on and make the trade if it's aligned with your bias. Removes a lot of the thinking out, which is, I feel like, when people get in trouble trading. It just turns into risk management and higher time frame bias, which is not too bad. Not too bad at all. I wish I could see who joins this stuff. I know I can see if you're in the chat, but we got some more people coming in here, but I can't see who it is. I'll say what's up in the chat. If you guys have questions, just let me know. We're kind of just sitting around, chilling, chatting. If a trade does present itself, yeah, I know it. That's kind of like what I'm running into. That's why I might start. I think I'm gonna have to start leaning to like the trading content, because people just want to know bullish or bearish. People are gonna make their own decisions on their own time when it comes to when is a good time to buy, when it comes to what coins you're gonna buy. But yeah, people do just want to know bullish or bearish for sure. I learned that very, very, very quickly. People also want to know wind moon. That's a big one. There's like a billion ways to ask wind moon. It's like, so does that mean we're gonna pump soon, or does that mean this, or are you thinking by March? I think we'll pump into the next rate cut or something like that. It's like, I mean, nobody knows on the timing of these things. If I could time these things, I mean, that's all that investing is timing. When it comes to my style too, is like, I only really buy once. This cycle I bought 3 times. I bought at the bear market low. I rotated Bitcoin into Ethereum, or some Bitcoin into Ethereum, in April because of where ETH BTC was at. That trade panned out perfectly, and since has somewhat fallen apart though. When we were at 5,000, I felt like a genius. Now, I mean, it's pretty much about the same when it comes to pull down here. I guess I can look at that. When it comes to pullback from the high, Ethereum's definitely like 10% further, maybe more. But it kind of is what it is. Yeah, no, this is a confusing cycle for sure. I feel like my logic around it though has been sound. And my thesis on it excites me, not in the sense of price going up and making money, because obviously that's always exciting, but the amount of stuff that I have backing it and the type of stuff that I have backing it definitely excites me for me ending up on the right side of the trade. But it is like a patience thing, as is anything. Because like you said, we're kind of just waiting on the breakup or the breakdown to confirm who's going to be right. You know what I mean? We can position however we think we should, or how we see fit based on the data that we have. But until we get that break, so it's not going to be as clear. I do think, a lot of people talk about, well, what's the catalyst for, bringing retail back into crypto? I think the 4-year cycle breaking, quote unquote breaking, to me, it was even broken in 2021. People don't really talk about that too much. But for the masses finally accepting that the 4-year cycle is not a thing, like Bitcoin breaking new all-time highs, I see that as what's going to bring retail back in. I think that would give them the green light to be like, oh, okay, cool. Like crypto is back, and just in time for it to do what it's going to do for 3 months and then roll over. And now we're back into a real bear market and chill out for a couple years. And yeah. Yeah, I think when it comes to the tariffs and stuff, it's mixed. I see there's some chart today. It was like is some measure of uncertainty, right? It wasn't the VIX, obviously. It was more like a poll, just like a national poll on people's certainty about the world, and it was the most uncertain times people have ever been into. Um, to me, uncertainty in this situation is a good cover for some sort of massive run up and leaving people confused. Um, when it comes to US dollar not being the global reserve currency, I always kind of had this idea, and obviously I'm American, but I don't say this from like a patriotic stance. Um, I just say this because I have an understanding of military industrial complex and what actually backs the US dollar when it comes to military and global power and stuff like that. I think the day that the US dollar is no longer the world reserve currency, if it's not Bitcoin, um, we have bigger problems in the world, right? Like there's mass war, World War III kind of situation. Um, and yeah, I just think we have bigger problems at that time. And then, for me, if we do have bigger problems at that time, I even if Bitcoin goes down, that's where I want to have my money, right? In that uncertain of a time or that crazy of a time. I don't want my money in fiat. I don't want my money in gold at some bank. I would definitely want it in the crypto markets. Yeah, I think the thing with the tariffs is like not that nobody knows how it's going to affect the market, but like we don't have insight to that, and or we don't have a good way to track it. Like the numbers are, I mean, a lot of the numbers we deal with are pretty phony in my opinion. But the tariff stuff especially, like we don't know exactly where things are getting passed, like cost is getting passed down to. We don't know exactly the implications. I remember when the tariff stuff first came out, and like the White House wasn't even calculating surplus and deficit correctly on their own little PowerPoint or billboard or whatever they had. So there's a lot of that going on, especially when it comes to tariffs. When it comes to the employment data, I know people argue that stuff is falsified or it gets revised down, and which it does. But somewhere out there, there's the real numbers, or people know the real numbers, right? And that's why I look at stuff like the credit market, because that's the institutional, that's the smart money. Those are the most risk averse people. So when they're positioned for risk on, it's typically a good sign. Whether it's confirming the numbers or not. I think now and currently it is confirming the numbers that we're looking at when it comes to unemployment and where the Fed is positioned. Um, but I think that's why it's important to look at that stuff too, because that's going to kind of give you the confirmation of if you're on the right track or if you're going down the right path, or if data is to be trusted or not trusted, in my opinion. Markets are, not that markets are always efficient, but the market is the best way that we have to see where things are getting priced in, right? People bet with their money. And so when you're looking at $120 trillion asset class like the debt and credit market, it really does give you good insight to where the future could be going, in my opinion, or what's being priced in from the people that are in the know. If we do get everything to play out like the way I think it is going to play out, I'm I'll stick with you guys to make sure you guys sell, but I'm definitely gonna have to take like a good 3 months off to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life and just take it all in. Um, I don't know if you guys, I don't really talk about it too much here, but like kind of my story, right? I've never taken profits on my crypto gains. When I say taking profits, I've sold into US dollars, but I've never spent a dollar of it, right? It's been 10 years. I didn't start with, too much. Well, I started with a substantial amount. But that was over, multiple years. And then when I made the money that I made, right, I made 7 figures in 2021. I'm on the younger side, so it's like, okay, I can, invest this into something else. I can, spend it. I can buy a Lambo. I can do whatever. But I was kind of like, just made the decision to be like, nah, like we're gonna run it back. We're gonna, live humbly and within our means of what we can afford and not go crazy and put it all back into crypto. So after this cycle, it's going to be pretty surreal with the amount of money made, to the point where it's like, okay, I got to make decisions on in investing into some passive income things, and where am I going to park that money, and you know just getting set up for that kind of situation. So it's going to be pretty surreal. Um, I've prepared for it mentally, and I've had some preparation for it in 2021. But even the money I've made thus far this cycle is like, holy crap! Like it doesn't really feel real in a sense. It's pretty weird feeling. I love how as soon as we go live, Ethereum just trades in like this little tight range. It's probably because I don't think is it Asia session yet? It's kind of like a weird in between. Yeah, I think it is Asia. But London doesn't open until 2 or 3, I think. That means the Nikkei is open probably. Let's see what the Nikkei is doing today. That's important. I'm just going to check on my phone now. Hell yeah, man. Thank you for the kind words, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's one thing I try to focus on, man, is I'm never going to shill bullshit. I'm never going to pump coins. I'll talk about coins on here in respect to what it means for a broader market, right? But I'm not going to just be pumping random bullshit or meme coins and things like that. And then I try to talk about, yeah, like you mentioned there, nobody shows the charts you show. I try to talk about the stuff that's actually important for broader markets, right? Crypto is the vehicle of where I like to invest, but at the end of the day, I'm a macro investor, right? So I can be looking at commodities. I can be looking at using my analysis to trade gold, stocks, whatever. Crypto is just the most, the highest beta of all those things. It's the most volatile. So that's where I choose to to kind of park the money. Plus, I like the ethos around crypto, though it has definitely taken a hit in the last few years, which has been very disappointing to see. Which was a part of the reason that I started this channel, was to kind of push back just against some of that stuff. Like, let's get back to the analysis. Let's leave the pump fund memes. Let's leave the kind of scam rug pull market behind us. Let's like move on. Let's focus on building things that actually help people. Yeah, man. I'm glad that you're enjoying the videos. If you ever have questions on anything, definitely you can drop them in the comments, or we can talk about it here. But yeah, everything that I'm covering in these videos is stuff that I wish somebody explicitly told me, right? When it comes to like we're currently covering the credit market, right? I wish 7 years ago, 6 years ago, somebody was telling me to look at that stuff and what to look at and what charts to look at when it comes to the credit market. What the implications for the market are, what direction do you want to see the credit market move in, all those things. Because the stuff's important, whether you're crypto investing only, like I said, or whether you have a stock portfolio, or whether you're just curious about learning about things in general. Sorry. Oh no. I thought we were gonna get a trade. We're on the 1 minute time frame trying to take a trade here. So no judgment if this doesn't work out. Let's see. All right, I'll know in 30 seconds if we're taking this bad boy. Let me get my long position ready. I'm gonna take this on a different screen, but I'll show you guys the position once it does confirm. But yeah, I'm glad you found the information useful, man. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to do. And yeah, try to think about the market differently. That's the only way you're ever gonna find an edge and what makes sense to you. All right, let me go get this. Oh, let me go market buy this. Oh gosh. Not built for the 1 minute. Not built for the 1 minute. What's that? 0.44. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I'm not trading big size on this. This is like 1/10 of a size. Oh my gosh, come on. What an execution here, guys. Okay, we're in the trade. You guys here. All right, stop loss is just below this low. TP. Damn, TP is shit. We'll go at that high right there. And all right, see how this plays out. See how this plays out. And we had some people join just in time for the 1 minute break of structure. I had a disclaimer earlier in this. I was like, please don't judge my indicator based on what happens on the 1 minute time frame, but I promised you guys some trades, and it's not a super volatile or liquid time in the market, being 9:30 on a Wednesday. So we have to take what we can get. But regardless, you guys can kind of see how the indicators work. Break of structure, right? I talked about higher time frame, confluence earlier. Currently, we're bullish on the 4-hour, which is this kind of regime that you see in here, and then this kernel regression band is the 1-hour kernel regression. So we are bullish there as well. So if we're bullish on the 1-hour and the 4-hour, I said I would look for some longs, and we are currently in a long position. I went like 10% of my normal size on this. So if it fails, I'm not hurting here because we are, again, on the 1 minute time frame. But yeah, upwardly, I appreciate the kind words, man. I'm glad that you're getting some good information out of the videos. That's always good to hear. That's the type of stuff that keeps me going, especially in times like this. Whew, I would much prefer to just be investing by myself currently and not having to post videos on it. Especially in not fun times like this, especially being on the contrarian side. I would also love to just be bearish like everybody else. That would be awesome. That would be easier. But that's just not what the data is showing. So it's not what we're going to report on. It's not what we're going to do if the data doesn't show it. Sorry, guys. I'm going to hop on my phone here for a second. I got some questions in the Discord. If you guys don't know, or if you guys are watching this back, I did go live with my beta testing. So you guys can go check that out if you would like to. Let me add some rolls here. I'm gonna move this over. Move this over so I can see you guys still. Identifying trading range as accumulation distribution. I'm always trying to figure out what institutions or whales are doing within a trading distribution. Yes, I can help you with that. Just give me 2 seconds to send this real quick. And I will send the other stuff later. Accumulation or distribution. I mean, the biggest thing, honestly, like when we're talking high time frame, accumulation is going to happen at bottoms, distribution is going to happen at tops, but they're really one and the same thing, and they're really anything outside of vertical price action, right? We're on the weekly time frame. We'll start here just so you can kind of see. All right, but we're on the weekly time frame. So, I mean, this is very clearly accumulation. So we're at the bottom, and then the good example here, distribution, right, and reversing outside of that. Let's try to find you a good range to kind of discuss that. More so on this sense. It kind of does apply the same rules. On the daily time frame here, we're at the top of this range. So, this is very clearly distribution in here. Once we took out a low, we did kind of close back inside of it. But a variety of things could have happened here to kind of signal distribution. We did have lower highs, so that's a big key, right? If we're not getting any higher highs, right, but we did get our first lower low in there. You can kind of count those out, and that definitely helps identify some things in there. And then when it comes to accumulation, we had higher highs in here, and this was somewhat of a distribution because it was distributing to move lower. But if you're talking about strictly from a trading sense, I look at the market more so linearly, right? So I look at it more like this. I like to do a nice little range. I think that's easier. And your Wyckoff, right? Your Wyckoff studies will help identify, but it's going to be more so identifying the liquidity sweeps, right? I'm not going to argue that this is some sort of Wyckoff because it's really not, but you can see the similarities of kind of creek in here into a spring phase, right? First, what is it? I forget the abbreviation for it, but that's stuff that happens here at the beginning, right? And then that kind of first little creek, new high above that where the base range was set, and then longer creek into the spring. But if you want to kind of avoid that when it comes to like day-to-day trading, because to me personally, I use Wyckoff on like weekly time frames. You can kind of just go for the more liquidity sweep angle, and that always works really well in my opinion. When you kind of draw things out like so, right? I would probably have the range more up in here, right? When you can draw a range out like that, you can draw a range out, like this, and then really you just have to stick to your rules outside of that. You short anything that touches the top of the range. You long anything that touches the bottom of the range, right? So you would have got stopped here, could have longed on a reclaim, right? Yeah, obviously, if you're trading, taking profits on the way up, taking risk off the table as things move up, and then you move underneath the range and you retest it from the underside, and you can take positions there, right? So when it comes to trading, you kind of just want to identify some key places where you can take position. And when we're talking about this range in here, you can take position there, take position in here, take position right here, right? And then you could have taken position twice over here. So when you look at, if you just pull up a chart and you're like, oh, I'm going to trade today, it's not really the best way to go about it. But if you identify some points where it's like, this is where I would be okay putting some risk on the table or taking this position, and then you just wait, right? 90% of trading is just waiting. And when price gets there, then you act accordingly, right? So this is, a range from August to October, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades in, right? This one was a little bit nasty, I will say, especially on Ethereum, because we had these kind of higher highs or higher lows. I'm sorry, higher lows. But price was just kind of getting squished in here. We didn't make any new highs. We didn't go sweep this. We didn't go sweep this. So it's a little bit harder to identify in here. And then we had already had obviously October 10th liquidations and things like that. So that was a pretty nasty one. I had positions in here towards the bottom of this range, anticipating the same thing I'm anticipating now, is Ethereum, going back up to the all-time highs. That didn't happen. That's okay. We take our loss. If we get the opportunity to make a trade in here, we will definitely take it, and I have no problem taking it back, Ethereum back to new all-time highs, right? I don't have a problem taking that trade. This range, right? This is a good exercise since you're thinking about trading ranges. This range is a little bit, yet to be established, in my opinion, right? We pretty obviously have some sort of high right here. If this area here can get reclaimed, we could potentially call that a range. I think the big thing I'm looking at right now is if we do get down into these discount levels on the fibs, right? We did get to the 0.5 on Bitcoin as well. But if we do get down in here, just waiting to see if this holds is going to be the key. Because if we hold in there and we kind of actually get some movement up, well, then now we have a pretty defined range in here. Again, this can still be the range if we are able to reclaim. And you can look at a variety of things here too, right? Do we reject from here? If we get back up here, you can potentially take a short position, right? If you want to wait it out, if you're feeling more bullish and you want to wait for a reclaim, right? Could potentially get a long in there, with another potential area to short right in there. So it's a lot of things that you can do, but very rarely are you ever going to log on to a chart and be like, oh, it's like in perfect position to take a trade. The key is waiting for that range to develop, like you said, identifying, levels where things could potentially happen. That was basically just support and resistance that we went through in that little exercise right there. But you can find pretty good trades even just doing that, or pretty easy to understand trades even just doing that. And that's kind of the idea behind it. I still do that. I identify the range. When it comes to what you guys are seeing in the Discord, it's these like scalp trades. It's nothing crazy. So I'm not really identifying ranges. I'm more so making sure I'm on the right side of the trend. And once you do that, the indicator kind of does the heavy lifting. And again, it's like 0.5% risk, right? 0.5% to the downside, just adding a bunch of leverage on. But yeah. Might not have been the best explanation, but let me know if I can clarify anything. I'm definitely down. Wyckoff is a good one to learn though, for sure. Sweet. Got some people in the free indicator. If you guys are watching this, or if you guys are watching now or watching later, I am beta testing a new indicator. I'm not going to show it here, but there's a lot of stuff in there that if you guys want to mess around with the indicators, definitely take advantage of that. We'll have it free for a week, 2 weeks potentially, but yeah. Yeah, I would not rush with leverage for higher time frame trades. I don't use leverage on any of my high time frame trades. I would rather, if it called for it, put $20,000-$30,000 on a trade before I use leverage. I'm not a fan of it, but I'll show you some examples here. Right. Some of these trades kind of require leverage in a sense, or not require leverage, but leverage makes a lot more sense, right? I'm taking a defined risk trade with an indicator completely removes the emotion, right? I'm trying to catch a quick move in the market. This is not something I'm going to be holding on for a long time with like liquidation risk or anything like that. So if we're looking at a trade like this, right, adding 10x leverage, right, so I don't have to put as much money down, I can open other positions, kind of makes sense to me from a risk management standpoint. But I'm not like holding on to stuff, trying to 100x leverage the Bitcoin bottom at 60K and ride that back to all-time highs. That is a good way to definitely lose all of your money, I will say. But like this trade, we're on the 1 minute time frame, right? And 0.4% to the downside, 0.2 something percent to the upside. So on this one, I think I took like 20x leverage, right? And then, like I said, I just adjust the risk accordingly. So if you have $10,000 account, whatever the account is, right? I'll do the math for you guys. So $10,000, and I'm willing to risk, 1% a trade. So I'm willing to risk $100 or lose $100. I can basically set up this trade in a way to where the leverage is helping with the risk in a way, or I can risk less money, but still risk the same amount when it comes to like my overall portfolio. So 0.44 times, even 100x leverage is a 50% loss. So we'll do the math. 50% loss resulting in $100 loss would mean I would risk $200, right? So risking $200 to still risk that same 1% versus risking, let's see, 10,000 times 0.44. Yeah, so without using leverage, I wouldn't even be able to risk the 1%. You see what I'm saying? And when it comes to scalping, that's kind of where the leverage plays a factor, right? If you guys can see that, right? 10,000 times 0.44% of the trade, or I can do 0.44% times 100, so 44%, right? And now knowing that my max loss is 44%, and knowing I don't want to lose more than $100, can take 100 divided by 0.44. So I could risk $227 and still be risking the same 1% of my account on the $10,000. That's kind of the use of leverage that, a lot of people, it's actually a risk management tool. It's not like a, hey, make more money tool in a way. I think that's where a lot of people get confused or start abusing it or using it in a way that it shouldn't be used. Is going down that path of like, oh, I'm gonna risk all of my $10,000 account on 10x leverage. No. It's all how you have to calculate the risk every single time. Everything in trading is risk management. Like it's 90% of it, and that's what I'm trying to do with these indicators. Right, is make the risk management very clear, so you can focus on that. You don't have to focus on what is a good entry, and you can focus on your bias. Right, your bias of, do I think the market is trending up? Do I think it's trending down? Do I think we just hit a key level and we could see a reversal? Whatever your bias that you're putting into it, right? You don't have to worry about the entry. You don't have to worry about the risk management. It's all done for you. A couple seconds of mental math kind of sets things up clearly. Yeah. Yeah, I actually just rewatched. That's funny that you brought up that video in September. I actually just rewatched that randomly. I think it got like recommended to me um, about that. But yeah, there's times in the market where it's not worth buying coins, and it's just you have to be okay with that. Um, I mentioned earlier in this live stream, I only bought last cycle. I only bought one time, like 2018, 2019 bear market. I bought one time, or I was scaling in during a period of one time. This cycle, I've scaled in at the bear market lows, rotated a little bit of Bitcoin into Ethereum in April of 25. That panned out initially, not so much now. It's okay. I'm okay to hold my Ethereum. Um, and then I've been adding fresh money into the altcoin market on this pullback as well as other pullbacks post September. So after October 10th is when I started adding back into the altcoin market. I've been DCAing down. It's gotten pretty out of hand how much money I've added into it, so I've kind of had to chill out a little bit. um, I've had some other things that I'm like looking at as investments outside of crypto, and I've pretty much postponed those um, to go all in on this. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is, right? Everything that I'm saying, I'm not just saying it because I'm trying to get views or be bullish. I would actually get a lot more views if I was just regurgitating the bearish bias. Um, Mentally, it actually really sucks. It's been pretty hard. Um, but like I said, I'm also putting my money where my mouth is too. I'm not just saying this stuff and then doing something opposite of it, So hopefully you guys can, not find peace, but hopefully you guys can appreciate that. I'm not just BSing you guys or saying stuff just to say stuff because I'm pretty much always going to be on the opposite side of things. If Bitcoin went to new all-time highs right now and Total 2 broke out and others BTC, was at range highs and Bitcoin dominance was, pointing to range lows, I'd be bearish. And that's just a fact of the matter, right? No matter what everybody else was feeling or saying or thinking or doing, at that point in time, I would be bearish, even though the market would be euphoric. And again, not going to get a lot of views being on the opposing side of things, but I'd rather be right than get views. So, because again, I'm doing exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's been a weird move to get down here too. Like this, I feel like I've talked about it in videos. The whole sentiment has been different than any bear market I've been in. How quickly we've moved down has been different. The dynamics at play with Bitcoin dominance and things like that have been completely different. So, yeah, whatever your reason to be bullish is now, I have my reasons. Other people have their own reasons. Some of them cross paths. But I definitely don't think it's the time to be fading the crypto market, even if you think it's a bear market, right? Even if you think it's a bear market and Bitcoin is going to go to 30K, scaling in at 60 is not a bad place to start. So it's just kind of my point. 2018. Yeah, I've been in since summer of 2017, like June or July of 2017. Made a little bit of money in 2017 just investing. Obviously didn't do a great job. Came in late, didn't sell the top. Kind of learned from my mistakes on that. DCA down, had a good run in 21, sold the top there. I've been trading for a long time, actually, a variety of different things, whether it be I started trading penny stocks when I was like 12. So if you look at the how long this is the same YouTube channel I've had since I was a kid. I just changed the name, so it's you can see like it's super old channel. So I've been on here like learning about this stuff for a long time. I have not been trading crypto as much or as frequently as I should have. I've just with doing this, I've been kind of focused on growing this, and it makes it a little bit difficult. But now that I've gotten to a point where I see what people want and what people need, and also like I knew the crypto market moved this way, where there's periods where things are kind of dead in the sense of like where it's going to go on the macro. That's why I've been wanting to offer, more trading tools and get back into. I'm not really interested about teaching specifically about trading. Definitely like tips and tricks, but I don't want to teach anybody like how to become a trader, but like giving the tools to help build people's trading is kind of the direction that I want to go. Yeah, I would definitely can't be lazy. I'll tell you that right now. With anything in your life, if you're gonna do something, commit to it, right? Um, and even if you're just long term crypto investing, like it doesn't. Nobody's ever gotten paid being lazy. So I challenge you, sir, to remove the laziness. You have to really think about what you want. Life is too short to just kind of float around and be subject to chance, right? You have to be really intentional with what you're going to set out to do, whether that's trading or relationships or whatever is going on in your life. You really have to be focused on it because there's too many distractions nowadays. Life's too short. And yeah, that's just kind of, I know you didn't ask for advice on that, but this is kind of what I have to say on that. There is a high learning curve, but the big thing is you can make it as complex or as simple as you want, right? I was talking to upwardly in here earlier, and it's like you can literally trade support and resistance in a range as long as you're patient, right? The biggest thing is being patient and letting the trade come to you, right? Don't force anything, right? If I'm, we can kind of go through the example if you want in here too. We were talking about this range on Ethereum, right? I personally don't think the range is super developed quite yet, just because we haven't really substantially filled anything out in here. Not to say that it has to go down that low, but what you should be thinking about in trading is like you don't know where price is going to go. It's like, well, why not wait for confirmation, right? So how I was thinking about this, just from trying to give a basic example earlier, right? Very rarely are you going to log onto a chart and the trade is just going to be like, oh my goodness, there's like a trade right here. Perfect. I can take this, right? It's always going to require planning and patience and waiting for specified outcomes. Okay, so if we move up here, right, this is just me thinking about this, right? If we move up here and we start to reject, well then I'd probably be open to taking some sort of short on the way down. Okay. If we move up here and we're able to reclaim this range, and again, this is just range and support and resistance, right? Okay, then now I'm open to taking a long position in here because I've planned, hey, price is going to probably retest this area. When it does retest this area, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to reclaim it or it's going to reject. And based on what happens there, you have your answer to what you can do, right? And then even when we move up here, right, it doesn't have to necessarily break out. It can reject up here, right? So now just based on, range, support, and resistance, you have three trades, right? You have three trades you could potentially be waiting for. Hey, tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to see where Ethereum is at. Did it, reject from the $2,000 level? Did it reclaim the $2,000 level? Did it reclaim it and it's up here and I potentially want to take a short position? right? And then outside of that, it's just risk management, right? Making sure you're not over leveraged, making sure you're not over positioned. When it comes to learning trading, I think the best thing you could do is literally just add $10, $20, $100 into one of these exchanges and pretend like it's $100,000, pretend like it's $1,000,000, pretend like it's whatever, right? You can even paper trade on TradingView, but like really take it seriously. Like take that shit to heart that like this is real money, there's real consequences, and pretend like you are posting a YouTube video, right? And you have to explain to 100 people, 200 people, however many people are going to see the video, like, hey, this is the reasoning behind the setup, blah, 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 blah. This is, draw it out, this, that. These are the variations. These are, the kind of paths forward that we could have. And I promise you that's going to help drastically. Drastically when it comes to just being prepared. Those are the best traders I see are like, I don't know where the market's going to go, but if we get to this level, I'm looking for this. If we get to here, I'm looking for this. I want to see this reaction here. And everything in between is just sitting on your hands and noise when it comes to trading, right? The macro stuff that we mainly talk about is different on this channel. But when it comes to trading, yeah. Trading is definitely a solo game. Yeah, bro. I think, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish with what I'm offering too. When it comes to these indicators and stuff, is people being able to create their own edge in a way that makes sense for them, trade in a way that makes sense for them on their own journey that they get to go on, right? The tools that I'm offering, especially the beta test stuff, is like you can have whatever bias you want to going into it. It's going to give you the best entry, right? So if you're trading fair value caps, if you get one of those swing models to confirm after tapping your fair value cap, I can promise you it's going to be high probability trade, right? If you're trading liquidity sweeps or key levels or whatever you're trading, right? Adding that in as like a confluence on your entry is going to be super, super big for increasing your overall win rate. But I think, people creating their own edge is the biggest thing. Nobody's going to be able to teach you a strategy, and nobody's going to be able to copy, you copy trade them and you actually learn something. The biggest thing is just always always be looking at the markets, always be checking certain time frames, take mental note of how price reacts around certain times of day, even, right? You guys might have seen me in the Discord today. I was like, the high time frame bias was long, but it was also 9 a.m. And I know New York Open has really never been good for Bitcoin ever since ETFs got here. It always sells off, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll take the fucking short for sure. You know what I mean? I'll be careful about it. I scaled out a little bit early. I was a little bit hesitant because we had the higher time frame bias, but you kind of pick up on little things over time. And what I've been doing too is just been scalping. So it's actually been a lot easier scalping. It's been kind of nice. The swing trades in crypto, really, if you're swing trading something long, it's probably just a good spot to be DCAing, in my opinion. Like for the long term, like for the actual cycle. I've kind of come to the conclusion over the last, really this cycle, that if I am buying spot bags and a lot of them for cheap, I really should only be swing trading short. And I'm doing that as a way to essentially take profits on those long positions on those spot bags without having to give those up, right? I think that's people's biggest thing is like, well, I don't want to, sell my spot bags. I don't want to take profits on my spot bags on Ethereum at $5,000 because it's probably going to go to 8. It's probably going to go to 10. It's probably going to do 12, 15 when we get the actual cycle to play out. And yes, that is going to be true, in my opinion. But shorting at $5,000, one, is a good setup for it. And two, it kind of hedges you if price moves down. It's a way of taking profits on your swing trades. So moving forward, I'm pretty much only swing trading to the downside, which is not fun. I'm not saying I'm a perma bear or anything, but it just kind of is what it is. Something I've noticed over the last 2 years. What's up, my man? Let me see your username or your. I recognize your. What's it called? Your profile picture, but I'm trying to see what it says. Is it Redman? Now I can't see the logo. Damn it. But what's up, my guy? I recognize you from a long, long time ago. I've been an OG. Nightman. Sick, bro. Nice to see you, man. Yeah, it does say Nightman. That's cool. That's sick. How are you though, brother? You good? Been seeing you show up for a long time, man. Also, we TP'd on the trade. We didn't announce that. Maybe I should go drop it in the gains. The gains category. Yeah, bro. I'm quickly realizing. So I started this channel on purpose in April. I saw Ethereum price and Bitcoin is like bottomed out, and I was like, okay, alt season, fun times in the market, shit's gonna be epic. Like now is the time to start the channel, right? And yeah, it has not been as smooth as I anticipated or as past cycles have been, for sure. And I'm quickly realizing, okay, I need to be able to pivot to trading during times like this, for sure. So thus why we've had all these indicators and trading and moving towards this kind of content, even though I don't cover it on my my long form videos. I'm going to keep those on macro crypto stuff, but yeah, I do want to start accommodating to people who do want to trade when things are kind of dead like this. Yeah, dude, I don't understand how people margin spot bags. Like that's like one of the dumbest things you can do. That's the stupidest shit ever. Or people who buy long term, but with leverage, even if it's like 2x leverage, bro, I promise you're gonna get hunted. I promise you're gonna get hunted at some point. Right? Altcoins are down 50%, and the last 4 months, 5 months, however long it's been. So 2x leverage, bro, you're wiped. October 10th, every single person with a leverage position was absolutely wiped. And if you had that stuff margined on your spot bags, bro, you cooked. Yeah, you can make good money. You can make, I mean, whatever. Obviously, it depends on your risk and stuff. I would say the swing trading, like I was mentioning earlier, is definitely the safer route to go when it comes to like making safer money and like not having to use leverage and stuff. But yeah, you can definitely make good money. I'll share my ROI once we get to the end of February and I can like print the monthly ROI sheet. I'll definitely share it in the group chat so you guys can see for the month like what the percentage was. Yeah, I don't know about everyday trader, but there's a lot of scammer stuff. That's the thing that I'm never gonna do. Well, obviously never scamming, but I'm not interested in like teaching people. I'm open to talk about why I'm taking trades. I'm open to talk about my reasoning behind the trade. And if there's a lesson in there that helps somebody, awesome. I love that. I hope that people can gain lessons from it. But I'm not interested in having some sort of paid mentorship. I just want to provide tools that I would like to use for myself to trade and be able to provide those um, tools for you guys is ultimately what it boils down to. October 10th, bro. I'm never forgetting that ever. I'm That was the craziest thing. When I saw polka dot down like 85%, I was like, I've never seen something like this ever in my life. I will say though, there are probably not so much in like the crypto trading space, but in the just trading space in general, there actually are good people out there. Like they actually know what they're talking about. It's never going to be the biggest people. That's like it's weird. You kind of have to like um, you kind of have to go with like the more low key people. Like if somebody has like 10,000 followers and like good educational content, I would say that they're pretty trustworthy. But if somebody has like a million followers and they're posting Bugattis and Lambos, I'd be like, run for your life. Like, absolutely run for your life. See, I'm getting all scared about these moves. I'm like, holy shit, Ethereum's tanking. I forget I'm on the 1 minute time frame. If they're popping up on your feed, especially if like you don't watch a bunch of trading content, um, I'd probably say they're a scammer. Or if they're posting like how TJR posts and it's like just stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with trading, it's like, okay, like this not they're not teaching anybody, they're not helping anybody. That's probably a pretty red flag, pretty big red flag. But I think a lot of people, yeah, and I don't think there's anything contrary to like what people would believe. I don't think there's anything wrong with making more money off courses than you're trading, even, right? Like if I'm a trader and I consistently make $5,000 a month using a strategy, right? I make $5,000 a month, yes, but somebody who wants to risk $1 million can make 50,000 a month, or somebody who wants to risk, you know, $1,000 or 10,000 or whatever is less than what I'm risking can make 500 or 2,500, right? Um, so I don't think there's anything wrong with making more. Like I don't think that's like a criteria, but I think it's more so like the value you're gonna get from it, and like if you're actually gonna learn something that's going to change the way you trade or improve yourself as a trader, um, is the kind of what separates the people who come off as like scammers and the people who don't, right? Um, I don't really see anybody in the space talking about things like, building your own edge. There's these strategies decay over time, right? The more people that use TJR strategy to go trade NASDAQ futures, the more that's going to show up in the order books. And the more once it shows up in the order books, right, institutions and major players and stuff like that can easily hunt stop losses if we're all trading the same 5 minute break of structure into a fair value gap on the NASDAQ at the exact same time. It's just kind of is what it is. Yeah, no, I like TJR. He is entertaining. He's funny. Um, But yeah, you always have to do your own research. I think the biggest thing is like you have to set your expectations of what you want to become, right? Do you want to be Are you trying to find a way to make an extra $500 a month or $5,000 a month or pass a prop firm challenge? If so, signing up for one of those courses for trading might be worth your time, right? Is that course going to teach you anything about creating your own edge in the market or your own strategy? I don't necessarily think so, right? It'll help you with terminology and examples of said terminology, right? You're going to learn what liquidity sweeps are. You're going to learn what discount is, premium. You'll learn about, different indicators and things like that. Like you'll pick up on things and you will learn, but there's not going to be anything explicitly in there that like sets you apart from anybody else. That is something that you have to do on your own for sure, and kind of figure out over time. Because it's also like what works for your risk, what works for your psychology too. Um, the reason I have all these indicators, right, when it comes to my trading is my psychology was never really an issue. It was always my entries, right? Like I couldn't. There's so many different things when it came to entering into a trade that you do your top down analysis and you figure out your kind of higher time frame bias, and you look for this and you look for this and you look for this, and then the entry was like another 15 steps, like, oh, I need 15-minute break of structure, 5-minute fair value gap, tap into the fair value gap, fucking break of structure, change of character, out of the fair, like all this shit. And it's like, okay, if I can automate that part, it's going to make my life a lot easier. And that's kind of been where I've found my edge, or at least what works for me. Um, is kind of been my thought process. It's like if I can do the research and determine where the trend is likely heading, map out some key levels, and if I can automate what a good and bad entry is and what the risk to reward should be around that entry, then I'm doing pretty well. I'm also in a Bitcoin swing trade. Not swing trade, but it's a 4-hour trade. They better not want to stop me out. It's been so long since I've won a trade on Bitcoin that wasn't like a 15-minute scalp. I swear. Don't do me like this. That 4-hour close wasn't the best. Yeah, some people keep it simple. Some people get complicated with it. There's a dude on Twitter or on X, Castillo Trading, and he has like one of the simplest things I've ever seen in my life, but he prints. Dude makes bank. Like, I'll show you an example. Like, a child could follow that, right? It's just about just being patient. Everything is like points of control. I don't know if you can see on here, but everything is very simple. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to where we're at within the cycle, I think the best is yet to come. I've talked about it kind of at the beginning, but it's like I really hate to be in the position that I'm in, because every single cycle people say this cycle is going to go longer and further and stuff. But also every single cycle the charts that I'm looking at don't point to that. So it's just like that part has been kind of tough to get over for me. But I've had to follow the data on it, and the data, in my opinion, concludes, like I said, like I've been saying, like, best is yet to come. Um, Alt season, Bitcoin new all-time highs, Ethereum breaking out, all those things. I definitely see in our future, and that's what I'm positioned for too. So I mentioned it earlier, like I'm not just saying that to just say it and bullshit you guys or pump views up and by being bullish. I'm actually positioned for that. I've been buying altcoins. I've been buying altcoins that are beat up. I've been buying meme coins even, which I don't typically even do. But I bought a few meme coins as well. So I'm positioning based on where the data is pointing and what I've been talking about. Um, I think I think it's full on bull market, like completely risk on, best has yet to come kind of situation for sure. Yeah, like we haven't gotten started yet, definitely. Where Bitcoin dominance is at, Ethereum price in Bitcoin, others BTC. I have a little bit of dry powder left to put in. But everybody's situation is different. I mentioned this too, is like my bags have been, what's it called? Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana since 2023. I've added fresh money into altcoins on these pullbacks. So for people who have been in altcoins and got in altcoins in December of 24 and have gotten bled this whole time, maybe that's not the smart thing to do. Maybe they need to be picking up more solid projects like Bitcoin and Ethereum, or stuff that's less susceptible to volatility, right? So the situation, it can be kind of different for everybody. Yeah, we've been in a bull run since 69,000. I think for whatever reason, we didn't have everything play out, right? We had the dynamics. We had DXY right where I wanted to see DXY. We had Russell 2000 right where I wanted to see Russell 2000. Stock market looked good. It's like, everything was there, but everything is also still there too. So even when we look at credit market, where the Fed is likely moving, where the risks are on that. So we have been in a bull run. I think this is still all a part of the same cycle. Looking back, like when we actually experience a real bear market, when that move off of the highs, right? So where everybody said we were in this January of 2022 fractal, it was like a 30% move. But in January of 2022, it was a 50% move, right? And then we ranged for 3 months with a ton of volatility. This one, we ranged for like a month and a half with next to zero volatility. And then to get to these kind of capitulation levels, when we look at RSI, when we look at a lot of the momentum indicators, kind of reaching max levels of oversold this quickly for a bear market also doesn't add up, because one of the key reasons that a bear market is so painful is because of the time-based capitulation. So I kind of have, some problems with everything happening in the market when it comes to the bear case, even outside of the actual bullish charts that I have to point to. But yeah, friggin' right, dude. You are friggin' right to say that. On the fence, because everybody always says super cycle. Trust me, I'm like sick to my stomach that I'm gonna, fall victim to like the golden rule of crypto. But like I said too, even just looking at something as simple as like Bitcoin dominance or ETH BTC, and You can look at January of 2022. You can look at February of 2019. You can look at whenever in 2014. I forget the month. Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum price in Bitcoin was not at those levels. We had not seen similar things play out. So it's either going to be a bear market where Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin, or altcoins outperform Bitcoin, or the cycle isn't over. So it's like this weird in between, because I don't want to be the person who has their name attached to the entire bear market like an idiot. That's pretty damn unprofessional. And honestly, I'd probably just have to delete my account and move on. Like, that's terrible. But it just is what the data points to. Even for my own personal bags, it's like I'm pretty sick to my stomach, buying altcoins down here, because what if what seems obvious ends up playing out? Like, maybe I'm overanalyzing it. Maybe I'm doing this. Maybe I'm looking too deep. Whatever. I don't think I am, but that's always a possibility. Just because I've seen people after people call for this cycle is different, cycle after cycle, and it ends up not being. One thing I do find interesting is two big accounts who got the 2022 cycle completely wrong. Like, we're screaming bull market the entire way down, screaming super cycle the entire way down in 2022, have both now, this entire quote unquote bear market, have been strictly 4-year cycle people, have been strictly not looking at any dynamics, not looking at this, not looking at that. Very strict on, this is a 4-year cycle, nothing is different. I think they got smoked last cycle and they felt pretty retarded, I'm sure. And now they don't want their name attached to a bear market again. And I think it would be really, really funny to see them get it wrong again this cycle. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but to call super cycle in 2022, it not come, and then to call 4-year cycle in 2026, and then it comes, is like, would be comical to me. But yeah, appreciate the words, friggin' right. Thank you. Glad you appreciate it. Always try to stick to the data. Always try to be voice of reason, chill. I'm not trying to be overly zealous, bullish or bearish. It's not good for people's mental health either. To just, you have to try to remain. The market's going to do this, but you got to try to remain pretty zen, especially in crypto, because it's going to mess with your emotions, right? It's going to. When I first started doing this, I lost relationships over this stuff, because I would be irritable, or I would be too focused on it, or I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I have a daughter, so I have to, she doesn't deserve to have her dad be irritated, you know what I mean? Because crypto's down, right? So having to kind of separate those two things, and you got to have a life outside of it. And the data, sticking to the data helps with that, though. Not getting tied up in any narrative, not getting tied up in pullbacks or breakouts, definitely helps, or is something that you got to learn. I'll have to look up Tyler S. Write it down. I actually don't watch, you guys would be surprised, I don't watch any crypto content at all. I feel like it clouds my thinking and my process if I'm watching other people. I do follow people on X. It's nice to see like a little quick update, and most people are like trading and stuff anyways. But yeah, watching like macro videos or like picture me trying to make a video on this, and then I go watch like a Bravos research video, and they're like, World War III is here, we're all fucked. Like that would mess with my head for sure. Oh, I think I know who Tyler S is. Let me see. You said he's a crypto meme. I'm pretty that sounds familiar now. Let me see. See if Instagram. I don't think that's him. I'll go subscribe to him. Yeah, every day is the opposite. Are you talking about Bravos? Because that is true. It's pretty funny. Like most of the people, like most of the content I actually watch is economics related. Bitcoin will experience a level 10 Sigma event on vibrating. Oh, I gotta steal this dude's swag. That shit is hilarious. Oh my god, that's funny. Okay. I actually don't know this dude. I'm gonna somewhat live react to all these videos.
I have a reputation in the crypto space as being quite bearish. I tend to avoid being bullish, and I tend to avoid saying things are big or even really big. And that's why today is, how do I say, so big. Because I'm actually coming on here to present something that I usually don't do. And that's something that many of you might find to be extremely bullish. And we have a lot of data.
I can already tell this dude's funny. Oh, man. Yeah, dude. I do think I'm onto something too, though. Like, not, and that's the thing about like cycle extending. Like, a lot of people will ask me that question already being in like a super cycle camp, and they're like, okay, well, what do you think? Q2 of 2027. I don't even think I'm not even thinking in terms of like when it's going to happen or how long it's going to last. I have my levels still mapped out from when we started this whole journey. But I have my levels mapped out, and when those get hit, that has historically been what marks the top. And I think it'd be really, really interesting. Like, one of the things you can do in crypto is like, what's the outcome that would basically screw the most people, because that's probably what's going to happen. To me, Bitcoin violently making a new all-time high here would screw a lot of people. There's a ton of shorts. Those people would then have to chase. A lot of people would then be screaming super cycle, would then be looking at like a Q2 of 27. And what if it tops in 3 months, 4 months? Like, what if it's not that long of a run? It tops in 2026. It tops, late Q3, early Q4 of 26, and people are screaming, um, people are screaming super cycle into 2027. People are screaming 2028, all these things, right? I don't think it's going to take that long to, like, when crypto really gets going, the meat of a quote unquote bull run, or like the final phases of a bull run, is like 3 months. It's not long. Like, you better be already mentally prepared to sell when things like Total 2 break out, because you're a month and a half away, you're 2 months away max, right? Historically. So I think that'd be super interesting to see, is like a bunch of people ape in thinking it's going to go to 2028, 2027. It's like, why are you even focused on time? You should be looking at levels where it makes sense to exit the market. That's the only thing that matters. Crypto dude's name, gun, and samurai sword. I'm not sure on that. I wish I could tell you. Are you guys on X at all? X is like, dude, I learned literally everything that I know from X. Like, I have what's it called? When I was taking clients and stuff like that, I had like a little course, and one of the topics was like how to learn from X. You know what I mean? If you know how to go verify things for yourself, you can learn so much from Twitter. So much. Like if you see something interesting, go test it yourself. Go figure out how it works on a bunch of different charts. Go figure out, you know, when it applies. Is it even true what they're saying? Figure out how to filter out all the BS. Figure out how to filter out all the, engagement farming stuff. And you can actually learn. You can actually learn a lot. You don't like Twitter for like political reasons, or you don't like Twitter for like user interface reasons? I'm curious. Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing is like once you, if you guys aren't using, like I have my own list, right? So I have people that I want to see their opinion. I actually care to, whether they're just interesting traders or economics or just all my stuff, right? So I have my following, but then I have like my own. I don't even know if you can see. I have like my own tab. You can kind of see like there. Did a shitty job of doing that, but you can make your own list, and I think that's super super useful. Because yeah, for every 100 posts you look at, there's probably going to be one good one. But the chances of more, more posts that are good coming from that account are pretty high, right? So if you go then look at the other posts, you can definitely verify that. One thing I don't like is, or the one thing I, not that I don't respect it, but I don't listen to, and I think it's like big to look out for, is people who trade Bitcoin or crypto on like a macro scale without ever talking about macro dynamics, right? If people are shorting Ethereum, saying it's going to go to 500, $600 or something like that, even if the technicals point to that, it's like, okay, well, what about Ethereum priced in Bitcoin? If that's breaking out against Bitcoin, how low is Bitcoin going to have to go? And are you accounting for where the stock market is at when it comes to like a bigger crypto like Ethereum? So it's that's one thing I kind of look out for. Oops. Nightman, I'll type it in here. I got you. It's actually something different. It's pretty unhinged, so just prepare yourself. It's definitely not as family friendly as my other videos. I kind of get a little spicy on there, which I need to start doing a better job at. I've been reading some more books. It's not good. You got to put out love in the universe. So I need to get back on that type of wave. I haven't been smoking weed, so I haven't been on my hippie shit. It hasn't been on love. Yeah, fundamental and news is insane to me. That's like somebody who's like, oh my goodness, Clarity Act getting passed. Bro, I don't give a flying fuck if that Clarity Act passed. If the like there's a saying, it's like, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. And it's like, if Bitcoin dominance, right? If Bitcoin dominance on the monthly time frame is rolling up, if or rolling down, if ETH BTC momentum on the monthly time frame is rolling up, I don't know what the trigger is going to be. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be. I know what the charts are telling me right in this moment, right? And I'm going to position for it. And If the Clarity Act passed and everything takes off, then well, I'm already positioned for it because the charts told me, and that ended up being the catalyst. If it's Donald Trump saying he's going to start a national burger chain that only accepts Bitcoin, then that's the catalyst. Like I don't, it can be any random thing. And the news basically just explains what the chart was already telling you for months in a lot of cases. So I actually never pay attention to fundamentals. I follow it on like a week to week basis when it comes to like, government shutdown and news in Iran and trade news and stuff like that. I follow that because that's more so reason to know in the short term, like why we might be getting a pullback or what to look for or something. But when it comes to like the macro stuff, no. But yeah, I mean, there's people on the other side though. The point I was making was like when people do like massive amounts of TA, like super high time frame technical analysis, and it doesn't have anything to do with like the dynamics going on in the market, right? The underlying market or like macro economy, because things have to, like, you have to line yourself up within the right regime, right? Like I'm sure Cardano, if I pulled it up, looks insanely weak, right? But if it looks insanely weak while Bitcoin dominance is looking for a breakdown, while we're going into rate cuts, well, that's probably a time to buy regardless of if you think it's going to go to zero or not, right? In crypto especially, when it looks like it's going to go to zero, or if it breaks this level, it's going to go to zero, that's actually the time you should be buying. So that's kind of my problem with people who are strictly TA, same as people who are strictly fundamental. Yeah, I look at US markets while trading crypto. I'll actually show you. I can show you what I look at. This is like my kind of, you can see it's labeled home base. Not everything is important like that. I don't look at, but this is everything I look at. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, just kind of like the main cryptos to keep an eye out on, see the vibe. Reverse repo, that is, at the Fed. It's going to tell you if liquidity is being added or removed from the system that day. Fed balance sheet, same thing. DXY is super important. If that drops, risk assets are likely doing good. Japanese yen to US dollar, when that's dropping, liquidity is coming into the system. VIX, volatility stress index. Are the markets super stressed? Are they not? Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, futures contracts, and all those. Total 2 ES. You guys can see it on there. And stablecoin dominance, Bitcoin dominance, ETH BTC, others BTC, gold, silver, bonds, bond volatility index. And then this is all of that credit and econ stuff, but a lot of these only get released monthly, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, I like look at all that stuff throughout the day as I'm trading, as I'm looking at things. I think the sentiment is mostly bear. My indication of where the market is at when it comes to sentiment is actually TikTok. Whatever TikTok is telling me, I kind of go with. Like my TikTok comment section, because those people are the absolute loudest and wrong more often than not. So my TikTok has been an absolute cesspool of people calling me retarded and stupid and bald, which they might not be wrong on all of it, right? But when it comes to a bear market, they're wrong. But yeah, no, that's I have the same username on actually I have a different username on TikTok, but if you type in Americana crypto, you should be able to find it. And yeah, you can just scroll. If you ever want a sentiment check, my TikTok comment section is definitely the place to go. Instagram's pretty chill. Like I really don't get too many comments. But yeah. Des, if you're in my Discord, just add me and I can export the list and just send it to you, bro. I don't mind. So I can export this list, and you can just literally go into here. Not layout, sorry. Go into here and upload list, and you can upload it in there. Yeah, dude, TikTok is a cesspool. Absolute cesspool. I actually hate social media in general. I honestly didn't want to start this because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to post on social media, which sucks, dude. Social media is so dumb. Like the reward system in social media is ridiculous. It's just a mess. So I was not super excited about it. I don't use social media in my personal life. So yeah, it's kind of a weird step for me for sure. Yeah, good point on the Coinbase ad. That's actually a really good point. I knew that like a lot of normies were hating on the Coinbase ad. But yeah, no, I never put two and two together. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, no problem, Dex. Just at me in Discord. I'll DM it to you or send it to you or whatever. Yeah, no, happy to help, man. Yeah, dude, trust me, I wouldn't be on any social media if I didn't have this channel. And even then, I'm like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know. But I got much bigger plans for this stuff. Like what we're in right now with how my channel's going, how my social media is going is very me getting comfortable, like even being in posted on social media. And so, when I have a lot more free time to be more active and be more consistent and live stream trades in the morning and do all that, like I think the channel will get more fun. I think we'll have more people in here and stuff. But this is all just kind of not that it's a hobby right now, but it's it takes a lot of practice for somebody who has no experience in social media or posting or talking into a camera. It takes a lot of practice, so I knew that was going to be a part of it. It used to be cool back in the 2000s. Yeah, dude, bro. Instagram used to be so dope, dude. Like 2014, 2015 Instagram, 2012 Tumblr. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I'm like a huge ASAP Rocky fan, ASAP Mob. So that OG Tumblr has like a soft spot in my heart too. It used to be so sick. MySpace, shit used to be crazy. But yeah, no, everything's kind of gone down. Everything's gone to shit. I love the tweet. It's like everything's shitty and costs $40. Just pretty facts. Pretty facts. Friggin' right, man. I appreciate you guys. I do this for y'all, so I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the kind words. Des, most connected and disconnected times ever. You're not lying. It's weird when it comes to everything. I mean, I think you're talking about social media here, but also when it comes to the market too. When it comes to politics, when it comes to society, everything is that way. It's ridiculous. Definitely gonna probably get some land or something and just not move off the grid. Obviously, I'm gonna need internet access, but away from people is, I think, the my next move. Not that I like people, I enjoy people, but it's just like I would rather have the option to interact or not interact. Oh yeah, Alex Becker, bro. Alex Becker's funny, bro. Like funny in the ironic sense. Just like we'll literally like make a Twitter post like like long-winded Twitter posts like the time has come. It's time for Bitcoin to moon. It's time for altcoins to take off. Nothing is holding us back now, blah blah blah. And it's like a 1 hour chart and Ethereum made like a 0.5% new high, and then it ends up being a liquidity sweep and we dump like 10%. Oh man, that's funny. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of wrong calls or anything, but that level of just like over the top with the timing being how it is just so funny. So funny. Yeah, dude. AI is crazy. I'm not gonna lie though, I gotta learn more about it because the whole Claude situation, I was like, yo, I need to learn about this. But I saw they have a bunch of like security issues. So I was like, I'm gonna wait till Anthropic comes out with their own because I know they will. But I'm definitely gonna dive deep into that on just the AI agents side of things because for my business, for personal life, like having the ability to have things do things for you is pretty powerful. I don't think it's healthy when it comes to social media, but when it comes to like personal life and just overall efficiency and stuff, I think it is beneficial. I'm still mixed on its overall societal impact. I've heard a lot of different sides of the argument, and I'm still on the fence. Because there is an economic benefit, especially when it comes to declining population, right? Like most countries in the world um, have a shrinking population. So to maintain the same level of output to ensure that GDP continues to grow, because wages will not grow when GDP is shrinking, right? So it's kind of has an effect on larger society as well. Um, but it is interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people. I think people use it for negative things to enrich themselves, right? Because they're not partaking in it. It's kind of like a crack dealer or a drug dealer who doesn't partake in the drug but sells it and profits from it. Um, to them it's a positive because they can make AI slop YouTube shorts and make $50,000 a month. But how many millions of people's brains is that rotting out in the process for a small check when it comes to potentially ruining people's lives a little bit in a way is kind of the question you have to ask. But it's also people's responsibilities too. Like people are going to find a way to ruin their lives and be lazy and uh and fuck up on their own whether they have AI or not. Des, glad you can make it. Yeah, it is early in Europe, bro. What the hell? It's like depending where you're at, it's like 4 a.m., bro. 3 a.m. Night owl or early riser. The fact that there was friction at self checkout is pretty funny, but you're not lying. There was. Yeah, crack crypto. If you guys have ever seen Boiler Room, go watch that movie. That was a movie I watched when I was like probably like 10, 11, 12. I mentioned earlier, like I've been learning about trading for like since I was pretty young. And there's this line in there. It's like he was like selling drugs or something, or he was doing something illegal, and then he found out about like selling stocks. It was like when they were on the phone and stuff, and he called it slinging white boy crack, and that always stuck with me. I always thought that was funny. Yeah, Vin Diesel's in it. But yeah, that line always stuck with me, and like that's kind of how I always viewed crypto too. It's like white boy crack. Slinging white boy crack. It's called XRP, baby. It's called XRP to 10,000. Yeah, dude. I've actually learned a lot from AI. And all these indicators that you see and stuff would not be possible. Like I have an understanding of code and like how to fix code when things are broken, but I'm not cranking out Python. I'm not cranking out PineScript, right? But if you have an idea, like that's another point to what we were talking about earlier of creating your own edge and stuff like that. If you can learn enough to like have an idea about something, you can bring that idea to fruition easily with AI, super easily. So that is kind of one of the beautiful things about it for sure. Yeah, we have been boiler roomed, bro. We have been boiler roomed. It's crazy. The feds came, they swarmed, they got us, they took over, they ruined it. This time we had way less hookers though. Damn it. Should have had more hookers. While we could have. Dude, I love Workaholics, bro. Workaholics is so funny. Oh my god. That's tight butthole, baby. Early bird. Cindy closes. Yeah. Yeah, for me, yeah, I kind of fall into that. For me, is like about if I am paying attention to the market. Oh, they say that in an episode we've been boiler roomed. Oh shit, I gotta look at that. I'll try to find that. For me, it's 11 o'clock here, so this is about usually when things will kind of die off, and like if it sometimes it dies off at like 8, I'll go to sleep at 8, wake up at 2. 2 a.m. for me is like things will kind of start picking up. I think London is opening, and then New York obviously opens decently after that. But yeah, if not, I'll usually go to sleep around 11 and then just wake up before New York. Nightman, I can find it on AI. I bet you I can find it right now. I'm about to, drain a whole reservoir just to look up this answer. But we'll get it done. Claude can do it. Do you know what other show I love? Archer. Archer is so funny. Some people don't really like cartoons. I personally love cartoons, but yeah, I think I made my own indicator too for sessions, or I have one. It might be one I'm like invited to. I don't know, it's somewhere. Oh, no, it's just US session. I don't know why my dumbass made an indicator for US session. Like, I don't know. Season 7. I just said, season 7, episode 2, Death of a Sales Dude. See, I love cartoons. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a nostalgia thing. I don't know. I do love cartoons. King of the Hill, funny as hell. Rick and Morty, classic. Not really a classic, new classic, but I think the writers are better for some of them than like a normal, like if you enjoy Workaholics, you would enjoy, I feel like, a lot of cartoons if you could get into them, because it's more like that, like like if you know kind of comedy than it is like blatant just haha funny comedy. Oh, it was Cartoon Network. I did love SpongeBob, but that was about it. But I was big Cartoon Network. And do you remember Toonami with like Sonic? And I was big into that. That was like when I was like younger. But definitely Cartoon Network for sure. Yo, Jesus, what's up, brother? We've only had one trade. We're on the 1 minute time frame, but we did win. We did win. There you go. There's so many trading sessions though too, because like they can really break it down. Like they'll do like Asia Open, and then they'll do like Japan Open, they'll do like Sydney Open close. It's like, bro, yeah, bro, that's a lot, and they overlap too. What's this? Yeah, Tokyo, New York, London. Okay, so this just has 3. That's not too bad. That little dead period is they don't have. Oh, I was gonna say they have London. That's not a bad one. You can definitely make one a little bit better though, for sure. I have not seen a lot of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I have not watched that one that much. I've seen more. I've seen more Parks and Rec than I have Sunny. I've heard good things about it. I'll have to look it out or look out for it. Oh man, dude. The UK, bro. The UK is a mess right now. The politics is crazy. Y'all still wear wigs in the council chambers and shit too. That's just wild. That's just wild. No shade, just crazy. You ever watch Check It Out? No, I haven't, but I do love John C. Riley. Oh, dude, John C. Riley is mentally deficient. I don't think he has to pretend. I can picture that though. That's funny. I am curious about something in Asia though, so I need to go look at this real quick. Yeah, I can see him being touched by the syndrome for sure. I don't know why nobody's talking about Japan's stock market. Maybe I should make a video on it. Cause bro, does anybody look at the Nikkei at all? Cause god damn, that shit's mooning, and people think we're gonna dump. That's what's crazy, bro. Japan stock market literally new all-time high after 40 years. Chart looks like silvers. You think it's gonna stop? Crazy. Yeah, nobody's talking about it at all. And that's one of my things for I've mentioned the yen to US dollar. And when that breaks down, it obviously being good, but it also having, carry trade implications as well. But it's like, I don't think the carry trade is going to either it's not going to come in play, or it's, I mean, this would be the third time we've had like carry trade scares. People have kind of caught on by now in a way. And also, like, Japan's debt has been really coming down. Like, debt to GDP has really been drastically declining. Most of the spending that's causing the yen to fall too has come on the fiscal side, which is different than normal. While the Nikkei is breaking out. So yeah, that's one that I haven't seen people really talk about. Hell yeah, bro. We are prestige worldwide, bro. I'm the prestige worldwide of crypto. They got removed. What? The Nikkei? That's weird. Oh, this is a crypto exchange. I'm confused. All right, Jesus. I will catch you, brother. I will see you later, sir. Enjoy. I think I'm about to hit it too, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all's time. Appreciate y'all coming through. Enjoyed it. And now let's just hopefully we don't wake up to a bunch of red. Jeez Louise. Russell 2000's up. Hopefully it's just a little back test. I'll have to look into that. Favorite cartoon? All-time favorite cartoon? That's tough. Whew. I'm not gonna lie. I think I have to go Archer. It's more of a recent watch for me, but it's really that good in my opinion. It's so funny. All right, gentlemen. I'll catch y'all. I'll see y'all at the next live stream. Appreciate y'all.